Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I have been trying to get this incredibly talented and wonderful human being, our Orange County District 3 Commissioner, Mayra Uribe, and that's my Spanish, so please correct me, on the show for a long time. I have been following the work that she does in our community. She has an amazing story, and today I get to talk to her. So welcome, Commissioner. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. It's great to be on this. I got to tell you, I'm equally a big fan, and
Oh,
I've heard a lot of your shows, and I'm like, when do I get to go on? So
so excited.
super
Thank you.
excited.
You
And
do
I got to
so
tell
much.
you, yeah,
You do
and I
so much
used to
great
be in
work.
radio.
Oh, you
Oh,
did? You did radio?
yeah, for 8 years.
Nice. What
Yeah,
station? I always joke that I have a face for radio.
me too. I was on the ESPN sports channel here, and I also was on Clear Channel's The Game for many years. So I split my time on both
So
stations.
you are good in front of a microphone, which
I
is sort of
used to
what we're
be.
doing.
I've lost my touch. I've lost
No,
my
I think
touch.
you are. I follow you. I try to pay attention to what's going on in my community. I think all of us try. And I just think that the work you do has been impactful, and I want to talk about that. But before we take a deep dive into what it actually means to be an Orange County commissioner for District 3, let's hear your origin story. I told you before we went live that the audience loves to know about you. It's not like you had a Orange County District 3 Barbie when you were growing up. You had other things you wanted to do. So tell us a little bit about you.
Okay, so I'm actually very lucky. I'm born and raised in District 3. I'm a
Wow.
first generation American. And you, who are in the real estate market and all this, you know that's not normal anymore.
Not.
Um, and I always love attending Mayor Dyer events because he'll ask, how many people were born in Orlando? And I proudly get to stick my hand up. But I come from Colombian and Argentinian descent. My mom's from Argentina, my dad's from Colombia, and my parents actually met in English class in New York in the 60s.
Wow.
And mom and dad, my dad was a civil engineer who moved to Orange County to work for Martin Marietta. And my mom was a teacher who worked with children with cerebral palsy. And I had the pleasure of being born here. And I'm really kind of boring because I've only moved once in my life. And that's when my husband and I got married and we bought our own house. So I was born and raised in the same house, same
Wow.
community my whole life. And then I moved 1 mile north of the house that I was raised in. And I'm still in District 3. And now I have the great honor of being a county commissioner. And a lot of people, I got a nickname here. They call me the GPS because I'm born and raised there. I know every back road. I might have driven a little too fast on them when I was a teenager,
No.
but I love this community, and it's kind of what inspired me to run. But move fast forward, I'm married. My husband Kevin and I have been married almost 20 years, and we have two kids. My 18-year-old daughter Faith, who just graduated from high school, and is
Congratulations.
starting. Yeah, she's starting college in 2 weeks. And my 5-year-old son Lincoln, who just started kindergarten last week. So I'm on both spectrums.
Wow. You're all
Yeah,
back. You're doing it all over again.
I know,
Which
and
I
I,
want to ask you about, but I want to first of all I want to comment. My wife was born in Orlando, and she also is the GPS and says I backtrack too much. I don't know what that means, but I don't know where anything is north, south, east, or west, and she knows where it all is. So kudos to you. That's actually a big deal. I think you have seen the Orange County growth, and so has she better than any of us. I feel like natives have seen the changes and all of the things. She obviously was born right before Disney came in. And so she saw all of that and the impact. And I think it's different. You have a different perspective.
yeah.
So tell me about commissioner, because one thing I want to talk about is what a commissioner does. But I also want to know it's one thing to have a passion for Orange County and want to give back to your community. It's another thing to take the extra step and go, I want to be a public servant, which is what you are. So talk about that journey. Was it difficult for your family? Was it something you just spur of the moment said, all right, I just want to get involved? How did that all transpire?
Oh my gosh, Ted. So this is kind of crazy. I've always actually loved politics. I was one of those nerdy kids, and volunteered on campaigns at a very young age. My mom was a big, she loved politics. So I kind of got on that train very early and had the pleasure of volunteering on a lot of county commission and city commission races when I was in middle school. Like when I was 11 years old, I had the pleasure of campaigning for then Commissioner Mary Johnson, who, full circle, I'm in the seat that she represented, and I helped her get elected when I was a kid. So I loved politics. I was one of those kids who loved government and all those kind of things. But I was always that kid. I never ran for student body president. I never did anything like huge like that. I just enjoyed what I did, and I loved supporting great people. And I've always saw myself as a behind the scenes kind of person. And I did that for 8 years. I actually worked for Senator Nelson for 8 years.
Oh, you did?
And yes, yes. And loved it. It was literally, except for being a commissioner, the best second job I ever had, which is working in politics and being able to help people and see how these changes happened in DC and how it trickled down to people like us.
Yes.
And so I ran in 2010 and lost. And
Oh, I didn't. I don't remember that.
yes, I ran and lost, and I was devastated. I mean, like anyone would. My mom was always like the cheerleader. Whatever you want to do, you can do, and I believed her. And when I lost, I was like super, super like, I don't know, it became very real to me. And I said, I'll never, ever run for politics again. Like, you guys can have this. I'm just going to be the supporter in the back. I can work for great politicians. I even tried to encourage my husband to run. And he was like, no, don't put this on me.
No.
And
that's not his calling.
No, and it's really tough. When you run for office, you're really vulnerable. And I think people really forget that. Like, we put all of us out there because we're essentially meeting people and say, like me enough to believe that I can do a good job in this community, and you really almost have to like someone and believe in them and respect their vision. And so I just kind of went into nonprofit work, and I said, that'll be for other people. And I just still want to help the community. So I'm going to do nonprofit work, and started my professional career in nonprofit after I lost in 2010. And then the funniest thing happened in 2017. I found out I was having my son, and I was really old. I was actually 43 years old, pregnant with a baby. And that was never in the plans, like, career wise. And I went through such a difficult pregnancy. I spent 57 days in the hospital under mandatory bed rest, not being able to move because I went into preterm delivery, and I was trying to keep my son in my stomach as long as I could. And when you deal with something so traumatic in your life, kind of makes everything else really small. And I wondered, like, why was I so scared to run again? Was it defeat? What was it? And I thought about it, and I talked to my husband, and I said, I think I want to do this again. And his response was, it's about time. And what's crazy is, with a 3-month-old baby, I decided to run for office.
Wow.
And I put him in a stroller, and we started knocking on doors and talking to voters. We were in a very contentious race in 2018. It was about 5 of us. And I won the primary, and everyone said people who win the primary never win the general election. And I won the general election. And that energy kept going, and it still goes today. And honestly, at the end of the day, why I do what I do is because I love what I do, and I love serving the community. I love having input in the future of what this community will look like, not only for all the residents that live here, but for my children and my family and myself.
I mean, what a story.
Yeah.
I love that story. And a 5-year-old, God bless you.
I know.
I love children, don't get me wrong. I just am thinking, how would I be at 43 with a newborn?
Crazy. It was totally
but
crazy.
Look, it's all worked out beautifully. Let me talk about why specifically a county commissioner, Orange County commissioner, because I think whenever I have an elected official on or somebody running, I always like to get an idea. I always love them to give an idea of what that position actually does, because if most voters look and go, well, I like that name, they don't necessarily understand the impact that it has on them in that district. In the reason that you are on the ballot is because you are going to make an impact on them wherever they live. So talk about why a District 3 Orange County commissioner, why that, and then tell us what a commissioner does.
And that's such a great question, because people always ask me, well, what does a commissioner do? and it's really hard. I love to meet people who actually know who their commissioner is, because we're all like, life is happening around us, our careers, our families. But I always love to tell people, a county commissioner will actually make more decisions in your community than the president of the United States will make. We're the ones that are going to make sure you get a sidewalk in your neighborhood. You need that speed bump because cars are racing down. Your property taxes, your fire and police funding, all of these things that really impact your day-to-day life, your impact fees, your property tax fees, all these things come and start at the local level. And clearly we never expected, but look what happened with COVID, how you were able to get tested, how you got vaccines, where you got vaccines, all of those things came through your local county commission. And for me, I really realized it because, like many, we kind of all have a story that inspires us, that says, I don't like what I'm seeing in my community and I think we can do better. And running for office is a way to do it. But what I was seeing is, I was seeing a lot of disenfranchisement happening in Orange County, depending where you lived. We clearly knew the more affluent areas and not so. And I'm a firm believer, doesn't matter where you live, the color of your skin, or how much money you make. Quality of life should be quality of life for everyone. And it is what I believe in my core of who I am and where I live. And I tell a lot of people, I live off of Orange Blossom Trail, where people will say that's very undesirable. But I said, but hold on a second. I live off of Orange Blossom Trail on the lake, Lake Jessamine, with a beautiful house with my family. Doesn't matter where that is. It's still a beautiful and great life that I have. And everyone, whether you live off of Orange Blossom Trail, or you live in Bithlow, or you live in Lake Nona or Winter Park, you should have a great opportunity to have a great livelihood. And sometimes we need to help people a little, a help up. And whether it's some food distribution, whether it was COVID distribution, whether it was vaccines, school supplies, sometimes we got to help our community. And we call it kind of paying it forward, that hopefully that will transition to other things, and we can have better humanity in our community. And one of the things that we really love to do, that we've done now for a couple of years, is we actually clean 5 miles of Orange Blossom Trail.
Wow.
And we do it with young people. We do it with about 120 teenage volunteers, where they learn that this is how you do. You give back, you take care of where you live, and you try to make a positive impression, because it starts there. It starts with the littlest things.
It's true. It's amazing. I feel like, and I know you can't comment, but I'm just going to make one comment about elections in general. Local elections, I think people underestimate the value of how important they are. And I feel like that's why a lot of people don't know what a commissioner does, or don't understand what the soil and water guy or girl does. Like, they really don't understand how that all plays into their everyday lives, and what a big impact it actually can and does make. So I have to give a shout out. I feel like if you want to get involved, or you want to know about what's going on locally, then you need to reach out to your local elected officials and get involved, figure out what they're doing, look at what the initiatives are and the vision, and really try to educate yourself on how that impacts you and how that impacts the community, because you all are also always planning. There's always planning meetings. There's so much that goes on in our community that we have an opportunity to go to, because a lot of it's public. And I think a lot of people don't understand how important that is either. So kudos to you for embracing that and putting it out there. I love the fact that we have local elected officials who are willing to come on and share. I mean, you are a normal human being, a mom, a wife. You are doing all of this, either depends on what side it is, but you're balancing it all. And I think a lot of times people feel like elected officials are out of reach. Maybe they're not somebody that you can actually have a conversation with. And I have found that to be completely the opposite.
No, yeah. And I love how you say balancing it all. I'm more like trying to balance it all,
Yeah, I know.
because it's nuts. And out of everything I do, being a mom to me is like number one.
Sure.
And I try to protect my children from this, because I would say I'm the elected. They shouldn't be judged and stuff. But the reality is, people know you, want to know about
Yes.
you. So if you know me and if you follow any of my social media, you're going to meet my kids and you're going to meet my crazy husband and our crazy life. And yes, I just recently went to the New Kids on the Block concert with my daughter,
Good for you. How was it?
and we went backstage and met them. So,
Nice.
and here's a funny secret: that concert was my 41st New Kids on the Block concert.
You're a big New Kids fan. That's actually awesome. I
Yeah, well,
love
when I
that.
was
I love they
younger,
did that whole tour. I think that was awesome for them to do.
it was. Did you go? It was
No,
amazing.
I did not, but I got invited. I heard a whole bunch. I was out of town. I heard a whole bunch of just that's to me, that's my I'm definitely older than you, but it's around my era toward the end, right before I had kids. And so I just think that music is so quintessential, wonderful 90s, late 80s, early 90s. I just think it's right. Isn't that when
Yeah.
it was? Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yes, it
So
was.
not to
36
date us.
years.
You were only 2 when it came out. I'm just saying. All right.
Well, and
Commission.
now I get to support my daughter. My daughter is like a big One Direction Harry Styles fan. So I get to be that cool mom
They're
and support
so
her.
talented too. What I love is I feel like that music, which I talk about all the time, it transcends. But I also
Hmm.
think New Kids on the Block does the same. I mean, if you
Oh my
people might,
gosh,
people might
they're in
not
their
know it, but they know the songs.
yeah, and they're in their 50s and can dance like
God
they were
bless.
teenagers. So I'm like, they're doing something right. They're doing
They're
something
doing
right.
it right. They're living the right life. All right, tell them, Commissioner, how they can find out more about you, maybe get involved in what you're doing in District 3, and how they can see all of those cool pictures of your kids and your family.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, you can find me everywhere. Like I'm on LinkedIn, I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram. My name, I am who I am. And if you want to get involved and you want to know more, I'm the person you want to talk to because it has been my desire to get more people who live in this community to be involved. If you are passionate about the arts, if you are passionate about animals, if you are passionate about growth and environment and all these wonderful things that are happening, we've got places for you. If you want to know about community services available, we have it here. And it is my goal to get people who are like us, who love something or are passionate about something, to be involved. And also, I have a really big passion for young people. I'm a firm believer. My parents worked so hard so that I could have it better than they did. And I feel that my husband and I have worked hard so our kids can have it better than we can. And they're the next leaders, they're the next generation. And we need to welcome them. We need to encourage them and teach them and have them have that space to feel comfortable. Unfortunately, it was harder when I was coming up. There wasn't as transparent, it wasn't as accessible and easy. There were a few key people in this community who did take me under their wing and expose me and teach me and introduce me. I did get to meet presidents and things like that at a very young age, but that wasn't the norm. And so I try to do the same for the next group. And so I just think that young people are our future, and anything that we can do to guide them, we love it. I love great things that are happening in our community. If you're doing something great, tell me about it because I love to come out and support those kind of things. Everything from fishing to skateboarding to wakeboarding to art. I just think that there's a lot of great people in this town with amazing talent
True.
who are doing great things, and we need to help expose them. Every time I just met someone, this artist who goes out in the community and just exposes young people to painting, and he does it on vinyl records, which is so cool.
Oh, how cool.
I know, and you just meet such incredible people, and this is what it's all about. We need to help up. I don't call it a handout. I call it a hand up because
Absolutely.
being exposed and having that opportunity, it's what it's all about. And I'm super lucky. I mean, I am very blessed to be where I am. I love what I do. I love serving. I've had an incredible life. I've done some incredible things, and I am grateful. I'm lucky to be here, and I'm lucky that the voters have put me here twice. And wherever this road takes me, I'll tell you, my heart is in it, and it comes from my heart and my spirit to want to see better, and it is what drives me every day.
And with that being said, wow, amazing. Thank you, Commissioner Uribe. You are
You can
amazing.
say it any way you want. Uribe, Uribe.
Uribe. I will not say Uribe.
Like, yeah.
I appreciate you so much. I love you sharing. I think it's so important that our elected officials are accessible and you make that a priority. And so that's why when you guys come on the show, it just gives them a perspective of you, because we don't talk all politics. We talk about human stuff and the heart. And so I just want to thank you for being open to that. Thank you for all that you're doing. Orange County District 3 Commissioner Uribe.
Thank you.
So
Thank you
much.
for the opportunity.
All right, guys,
and
we appreciate you. Get involved. Go out and find out more. Trust me, you are going to be enlightened and you're going to see all of the amazing things that are going on in your community. You just have to do a little bit of investigation. Thank you, Commissioner. We'll see you guys soon. Bye, everybody.